Welcome to Gamer Savings, this is Corey. Thank you for stopping by. Today, it's all about free games. First, we'll look at some top free-to-play games that I found that aren't too egregious in the way they offer in-game transactions. After that, I'll be talking about the free DLC you might have missed, past and present, that's been well worth the time investment for me and provided some awesome gameplay value. You might not have had a chance to play these yet, or you might have missed them completely, but they're certainly worth revisiting. Lastly, I'll be talking about finding more free stuff on digital storefronts. I use PlayStation, but these tips can be used on most formats, and I'll also be offering up some of the tools I use to spot deals. So a completely free themed video today, let's get started. Brawlhalla. I'm currently playing this on PS4 Pro, no word on whether this will be on PS5 just yet, but it's highly likely. This game should not be free for starters since it has local and online play, which is awesome. When you want to jump online, there's a bunch of different modes which you can customize, tons of characters. The moves are completely simple on the surface and not too convoluted, so there's really strong accessibility for anyone who wants a casual fight. Peel back the surface level and you find a ton of complexity in movement and advanced tactics. It's just a really enjoyable way to jump in and play something quickly, especially if you're a fan of Smash Brothers, as this is clearly where the game has its roots. The popularity of this game is felt from its cramped lobbies and millions of casual players, all the way up to its esports and annual World Championship competitions. Sounds strange to say, but I think people who don't enjoy fighting games might still like this, as it's not taking things too seriously. It's mainly about the fun. Hyperscape. Set in a virtual city called Neo Arcadia, Hyperscape is a free-to-play battle royale game from Ubisoft that attempts to claim a fresh stake in a somewhat crowded genre. There is much potential here, but in my opinion, the game still has a way to go. Long load times, lack of players, and a generic overcoat keep this from being the hit it perhaps should be, but it's certainly one to keep an eye on. The movement feels good out the gate, and the hack upgrades work well in practice, although I do think some of them need tweaking. Imagine the frustration of having an enemy player vanish into thin air in the middle of a gunfight. Maybe that's just me whining since it happened to me in one of my first games, but I still feel that one kinda sucks. Of course, being a money saver, I had to look at the microtransactions, and here we get the standard battle pass system and marketplace that we've seen in many games before. The marketplace is filled with typical cosmetics, and there's a premium level battle pass for approximately £10 or dollars. I'll keep popping back in on this one to see how steep the microtransactions get, but for now it seems to be doing things at similar costs to most battle royale shooters. Dauntless. The childlike fantasy setting of Dauntless almost put me off straight away, to be honest, but then it started to wake up the Monster Hunter addict in me, and once I started playing it I really got into it. Again, I discovered this on PS4, but I'm sure it will come over to next-gen systems like PS5, Xbox Series S, etc. It's less hardcore than Monster Hunter, and there are less systems to learn, but the journey of acquirement across this massive new world was similarly intriguing and equally as rewarding, especially taking down the larger and more fearsome beasties. They do want you to play this game socially, but you don't have to. And loot boxes have been completely removed from this game entirely, which is always good news for subscribers to this channel. The microtransactions that they do have are mostly non-offensive across the board, so it stays in my library of good free games. Warframe. It was one of the first free-to-play games on PS4 in 2013, and it will also be on PS5, as the developers Digital Extremes have confirmed. The sweet deal here is that although you can buy the full suite of regular microtransactions and in-game purchases, you also have the option to grind and earn some of the same precious trappings through gameplay. Lots and lots of gameplay. Since the game launched, it's garnered several industry accolades like the People's Voice and Golden Joystick Awards, and it's amassed around 50 million players, so it's definitely no slouch. It even made it into my little video today, which I'm certain is what they'll be talking about the most. So, free DLC you might have missed. DLC has become a major asset for developers and publishers of video games, so you can pretty much guarantee its inclusion for many AAA titles that sell really well. Even Ghost of Tsushima has an upcoming multiplayer DLC component that's offered free of charge, and that's a surprise since this and many other Sucker Punch developed properties have had a single player only focus. When the credits roll on a game, my brain usually checks out and I never want to play it again. In fact, I'm usually still annoyed hours after about the bombastic flogging I got from the last boss of the game. so it's too difficult to get me to carry on playing when I want to stop. But make it free and high quality and you got my attention again, at least in a tentative way. That's why I wanted to include a section here on the free DLC that I have enjoyed. You might have heard of the main game already, but you might have missed its perfect add-on offering, so here we go. We'll start with a game that everyone in the world knows about, The Witcher 3. Now, I don't really need to sell The Witcher 3 to anyone. It's a dense, sprawling, ubiquitous monster of a game that's already earned its status as one of the finest RPGs ever made. Did you also know about the free DLC that's been released since launch? Not the fantastic Hearts of Stone or the second pack called Blood and Wine, but the smaller supplemental missions that they snuck in there when you weren't looking. There's a contract quest in Skillage Island called Missing Miners on a notice board in a town called Bland Air. It's a cool mission that wasn't there at launch, so it's worth going after if the 300 or 400 hours of normal gameplay wasn't enough for you. There are tons of new crossbow sets and armor get-ups that have been added as well. Also a free new quest called Fool's Goals that you can find in Velen if you keep heading east. Lastly, if you go south of the main Skillage Island and start poking your nose around, you come to a port town named Frysdale. I'm probably not pronouncing that right. You can find a free new contract called Skillage Most Wanted. This is perhaps the coolest of all the free stuff, as there's plenty of killing to do for that contract. All of this did pull me back into The Witcher for a little while when I heard about it. And there were some good payoffs since you're never quite done with The Witcher. What with New Game Plus and God knows whatever else they've added to this already life-swallowing video game. Okay, so Shovel Knight. This game was picking up gongs right from the off. A nostalgic blast from the past that hit the right notes and made a big noise when it was released back in 2014. Available on pretty much every platform, the celebrated 2D platformer certainly didn't take the money and run. Original owners of this game can go back to find a treasure trove of free new updates. This includes new campaigns, new characters, and even a new multiplayer mode. If you're wondering why we haven't had a Shovel Knight 2 yet, this may have been the reason. All of this extra content was born from some of the Kickstarter goals that Yacht Club Games offered to get this game made. To take advantage, as all copies of the game now encompass the complete Treasure Trove edition. If you played it early on, go and take another look at your digital copy or put your disc back in, since you probably have a bunch of shiny new content waiting for you to play. Rainbow Six Siege. Your Rainbow Six Siege PS4 or Xbox One disc works with next generation consoles, much to the delight of fans. Although going through a tumultuous initial release, the progression of this game has been transformative, with a thriving community that's managed to keep this beast alive. For the future, the creators have mentioned building a reputation system to better expose unsavoury and nasty players amongst its player base, which are the sorts of things that are good to hear. I haven't played too much of this game lately, but I know the people who love it will stomach jab you if you even look at the game the wrong way. Join in cautiously therefore, and see if you like it. Overcooked 2. I think the Overcooked series is just fantastic. They seem to have found the perfect way to fuse a low learning curve with feeling like you're doing something tricky, like throwing together a plate of fried fish and chips whilst falling to the ground in an air balloon. Newer free DLC updates like Suns Out, Buns Out offer new levels, new chefs, new destinations, challenges, characters, all expanding an already generous offering. Every time I put this game down, when I pop back there's a bunch of new things to do, and apparently there's even more free content to come down the line, so if this is your thing, keep checking in on it. Blasphemous, Star of Dawn. If you finished the main campaign of Blasphemous, first off, congrats because it's tough as hell, but don't relax just yet as the game isn't done with you. A new free DLC was released in August and apparently is just as freaking awesome as the game itself, bringing a new storyline, new items, new moves or executions as they're called here, and a host of new gameplay updates. It's just as difficult, so there's some longevity to be claimed there, since games like these have me playing for a while until I ultimately give up. For those of you who love the hardcore challenge and are looking for more, this one has you covered. Dead Cells, Rise of the Giant. I love good art direction in games, especially when the same level of attention and innovation is given to things like enemy diversity, character customization, and of course, all those sparkly weapons. Many new updates have been made to the game since launch, including a Rise of the Giant DLC. One of the only complaints that I had when I first played Dead Cells was that it was slightly repetitive, They've listened to players, and now it's a much larger, much more versatile roguelike action game. Let's wrap up the free DLC talk. If you're interested in any of those, you will have to pay for the main games, of course, so check out my videos on finding the best discounts on those purchases. Finding free games. Okay, so free stuff on PSN, for example. If you type episode 1 into the search bar of most digital storefront, you'll find a nice selection of free offerings. Things like Life is Strange episode 1, which is an adventure game where you play an 18-year-old photography student dealing with the roller coaster of life alongside her anomalous ability to reposition time. I won't say any more. You also have Batman, The Enemy Within, episode 1. Again, a free episode, but this time you play as Bruce Wayne, the Dark Knight, against villains like the Riddler. The Council also has a free episode, and although this one isn't the strongest of titles, it tries to do different things, like offer the player customization, character upgrades, and major story changes based on your input. There's also a Walking Dead, New Frontier, episode 1. We're not quite hitting the highs of the first series here, but this is a new Walking Dead adventure with a free episode, and best of all is we got Clementine back. Also, if you have saves from the first 2 seasons, they will carry over into this, so that's cool. There's also Resident Evil Revelations 2, episode 1. That's right, there's an episodic Resident Evil game, and the first episode is free. Take a look. I know there's already zillions of fans of this franchise, so even though this isn't the best entry in the series, you do get to play as Claire Redfield, and you do get to find out what on earth happened in the space between Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6, a question we've all wondered many, many, many times. Oh, and you can also search for Chapter 1, as sometimes you get free games there as well, like King's Quest Chapter 1, A Night to Remember, a game which I've not played yet, so go check it out and let us all know if we should get on it. These episodic games were all free when I last checked, so go claim them before they change their minds. All of these games will of course be truncated, only the first one is free, an obvious law to get you hooked so you'll return for more episodes. Sites I follow like psdeals.net can also give you quite an accurate way to discover free games on the store using the filters that they have, and can also be used to decipher which version of the store is currently providing the best deal. These results may differ of course between regions and countries. Searching for the best price and buying from different countries is something I'm going to be covering in an upcoming video. If you are in a searching mood, by the way, try doing a regular search for Buddy Pass or Friend Pass on Google to find the latest games to include that offer. Just to explain what that is to people who might not have heard about it, games like A Way Out, where the experience is designed to be played with someone online, that they will allow a friend to join even if they don't own the game. The joining person needs to be signed up to PS Plus or Game Pass to play multiplayer if on console, but this is a nice way to split costs, or if you're the one joining, play games for free. Other games that have offered Friend Pass include Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Man of Medan, and Wolfenstein Youngblood. Let's see, the only other thing I can think of are free demos. We all remember those. I used to get them glued to the front page of my copy of Total magazine when I was a kid, and I would treasure them dearly. Demos are still coming out today, although we never seem to care that much. Maybe because we're holding out to play the complete game, or maybe we're so adverse to playing something that free is still far too inexpensive price. Demos can dampen an already lukewarm audience and put them off completely, or it can fuel an entire excitement hype train if it's done really well. Earlier we spoke about the Resident Evil franchise. Capcom has been doing this to great effect with its recent revival and rebirth of its Kingship horror franchise. The Resident Evil 7 demo was kept secret right up until its reveal within, in my opinion, the best E3 presentation of all time, Sony 2016. Some demos achieved massive success and disappointment at the same time, like PT, which was so good and so well received that Konami decided to seize the day, grab the bull by the horns and remove it completely and cancel the game. So it's hit and miss, but anyway, keep an eye out on the free demo section, as there's always demos, there's just never much excitement around them. In the same way games need to earn your money by offering quality, I need to earn your viewership by creating good videos you actually want to watch. I have some interesting upcoming videos planned, including how to buy games from digital storefronts outside of your country, analysing whether my LG C9 gaming TV is worth the cost, getting refunds on subscription-based services like PlayStation Plus, and there's lots more in the works. So if you see one you might like, then hopefully you'll subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when these go out. Let me know if you like today's topic. If this topic gets enough likes, I'll do another free themed video. If you have a friend who might find this info useful, please share the video. And all the tips I've ever discovered are on my website, so feel free to check that out too. Bye for now.